Halal mortgages are here, folks. Oh, yeah, halal mortgages are arriving, and the Trudeau government is giving a pathway to not paying usury or interest or VIG or whatever you like to call it on mortgages. So when you buy a house for $1 million in Canada, that's realistically worth 40 grand in Alabama, the same home, but $1 million in Canada, you're either going to probably pay up to $1.8 to $2.1 million when it's all said and done, when the home is paid off, because of interest rates. And now that interest rates are going up to hedge against inflation, because people no longer could afford to buy food, because we've kept these historical low interest rates, these Frankenstein monster rates we've been calling it here on the channel. So what is going on? Well, this was sent to me last night, and we're going to re-reference and look at other discussion pieces on this. Trudeau government announces halal mortgages. Here's what they are. Federal budget mentions the creation of halal mortgages as a means to enable Muslim Canadians and other diverse communities to further participate in housing markets. So they are passing the halal mortgages, or they're putting it into creation is what they're doing. And Trudeau announces, again, this was sent to me multiple times. Those were the two that were sent to me, and then I got a lot of links to other videos and stuff. And we covered it here on Trends in the Housing Market back on, what was this, May 7th, 2017. Trends in the Housing Market, halal mortgages ahead, massive CCP takeover of Canadian proper. And we've discussed that multiple times. Now, what is going on? So here is a problem. And I understand the Muslim religion very well, because my ex-wife was Muslim. And I learned and understood, or try to follow and understand what's going on with their whole side of things when it comes to the whole religious thing. I'm a Roman Catholic, right? So I wanted to kind of understand a little bit, right? And very, very interesting religion. It didn't really take off, like, it's been around for centuries, but it didn't really take off till pretty much 1918, where the religion became unified, because they had 24 to 27 different Qurans. And then in 1918, they chose the Hafs. The Hafs was the actual Quran that they chose, that this is going to be the Quran that we're going to follow. All the other Qurans, don't bother following them. Sink them in the ocean, I think it was, back in 19. Don't quote me on the date, but it's the Hafs was chosen, because they're all different. They're different surahs, different everything. So they chose that one, right? And when I researched it further, I started to realize that the first Quran was actually written in Aramaic, the language of Jesus. And the first Quran was pretty much about Jesus. It was all about Jesus. And if you look at the coinage at the time in the Arabian area, was all crosses, right? Then it wasn't until the year 900 where things started to take a change, because you have the Aleph, the Bay, the Kasra, the Fathas, and all the stuff. That stuff didn't come up in Arabic grammar that is being used today till the year 900 and 980. So a ton of things were lost in translation, or misplaced, or misunderstood, right? So there's a lot of things in there that are extremely questionable. And that's why in the country of Canada, you can't, you're not allowed to question Islam, or you're not allowed to question. I'm just looking at facts and just pointing out very specific, very plain as day things that are there, that are just there, and grammatically how things change grammatically, and how a lot of things were lost in translation. Because I think the Arabic language finalized itself around the year 1100, right? And in the Muslim religion, there's a lot of things that are very questionable. How Abraham and his son went over to Mecca to build the Kaaba. And the Romans stayed out of the desert, because deserta is a desert. It means deserted, right? So a lot of things like that happened. And where they went and built the Kaaba, where they now go pray at Mecca, there was a lack of water, and Mecca didn't appear on a map till the year, I think, 900 or 1100. So there's a lot of things that are questionable, that are just very basic questionable things, right? A lot of people question me as being a Catholic, or question me, but a lot of people don't thank the Catholics or the predominant Christians, and the Europeans that were predominantly Christian and Catholic that came over to build this West. They don't thank us for that. They question the religion. They question the religion and the 10 Commandments that were brought here of people being oppressed in Europe that built the schools, the stadiums, the libraries, the roads, the running water, the electricity. Oh, we'd have that today without the Europeans. No, you'd have nothing today because there's no one to maintain the infrastructure. And Europeans will come in, probably build it and leave, and it would fall apart in years because no one will know how to maintain the infrastructure. But nobody thanks the Christians and the Catholics, predominantly the Irish, the Portuguese, the Italians, the Greeks, the Polish, that came here to build these Western countries, right? So they were founded on Christian principles. So nobody thanks us for bringing over the sanitation, all the stuff we brought over when people were dying in their 20s and 30s because there was a lack of sanitation. But anyways, let's get back to what we're talking about here. All right, so the king of halal, Zakir Naik. So every child is born as a Muslim, regardless. So if we're going to follow and we're going to state that this religion is 100% true and it's 100% to the word, then it's going to have to apply across this. Halal mortgages for Muslims. Well, Zakir Naik, you never doubt Zakir Naik. The king of halal, every child is born Muslim. And then we go into, if you go to Islam 101, it tells you right here, and it even tells you the surah, books, and everything you need to know here. And why do they have to do this for? Why are they doing this for? Well, because of this. Toronto Lyra mortgages surfaces, money laundering from China destroying Canadian middle class. The collapse of Canadian housing, Chinese money laundering exposed. Money laundering, CCP, Chinese housing, Chinese destroying housing affordability with via fentanyl 5 years ago. Housing crisis, no investigation in money laundering as Canadians struggled to buy food 4 years. That's when they canceled the money laundering investigations because it's publicly funded and they didn't want to spend tax dollars tracking down criminals. And the tax dollars are being used to put people in jail with Bill C-63. And New Zealand sell-offs, the highest bidder, money laundering going nuts. Housing, let's get more Canadians a debt, competing with Chinese money laundering since 2015. The trail of dirty money laundering, Vancouver linking housing prices to CCP drugs, money laundering, and fentanyl 6 years ago. Australian housing money laundering problems, CCP takeover. Australia by pricing out middle class. Taking over Australia by pricing out middle class. Australia needs more money laundering. Australian housing market at risk of crashing, according to UBS. Toronto housing severely unaffordable. Young families leaving Toronto. CCP money laundering. Money laundering forcing Canadian middle class into homelessness. Australian, it just keeps going. It just keeps going. Housing needs to go back to average income earners, not money laundering. Major house of cards 6 years ago. It just goes on. How artificial markets destroyed Toronto and Seattle's housing market got destroyed overnight. It just over. England housing collapse. More money laundering needed to keep the game going. Toronto is winning. Housing crisis, foreign money laundering market 7 years ago. London housing falling down. Toronto and Seattle are winning the money laundering wars. So countries were fighting over Chinese money, undocumented money, dirty money. And if I did that, we'd be in jail. I would be in jail. You wouldn't even know. If I laundered money here, they'd deport my ass back to Portugal and put me in jail there. Because I'm European. Europeans get deported back to Europe here in Canada. You build the country, but you're out. That's how it works. That's how it works here in Canada. So, anyways, you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What is happening with the halal mortgages? This is kind of something we've been on and off for just once in a blue moon we bring up. And to get other people. So if I'm not going to contradict Zakir Naik. No way. He says everyone's born a Muslim. Everyone's born a Muslim because Zakir Naik said so. And if Zakir Naik said so, then this law should apply to everybody in the world. Looking forward to reading your comments below. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.